Okay, so I've never done anything like this actually. I mean, I get like bad responses on certain posts sometimes, like people like, you know, you're fat, or I don't agree with you, or your cats are ugly, or whatever, and I don't really, that stuff doesn't bother me so much, but I think after reading the comments and just seeing the overall response to the post that I made yesterday on my Instagram, I just felt like it's probably going to be a lot easier if I just film this little, ghetto video and post it so that you guys can just hear a little bit more from me on the subject. I'm not, I should start off by saying, like, I'm not trying to apologize for how I feel, or the way that I view like the current state of the environment in the world. But I think it is important. It's important to me that I guess people understand what the message was, what my true intention was behind it, versus trying to protect like my follower count or what people think about me. I don't, that stuff isn't important to me. It never has, and it never will be. And of course, I never want to like hurt people's feelings, or my intention is never to spew hatred onto anybody. And I can understand in ways how some things could get taken out of context or personalized a lot. So I guess I should just start off by reading what I wrote on my post. I wrote, "It's hard for me to empathize with those who are upset about the recent killing of an innocent lion yet choose to eat animals. The only difference between Cecil the lion and all the animals killed for meat, none. The only difference between what Dr. Walter Palmer did to an animal and how an animal dies in order to serve those who consciously choose to eat meat, none. Regardless of all the lies our country's FDA, medical industry, and media force upon us, it is our responsibility to seek out the truth for ourselves and make life changes individually. So don't tell me I can't live without my steak. Don't tell me it's hard because of insert excuse here. And don't tell me it's good for your health when science has proven the opposite. Don't lie to yourself that there is a humane way of killing a living being." So, I mean, I can see, like, how, based on a lot of the comments, that was like, people felt like I was personally attacking them. Like, I don't know you guys, and as much as you may feel like you know me, you don't either. You just know aspects of me, or whatever you've seen on a stupid television show, or based off of my, comments and captions on my Instagram posts. But I'm not sitting here judging people or saying that I'm better than anybody. I don't think that. I don't see myself that way, and I'm not sitting here trying to tell people, oh, you're, an evil person if you eat meat. I think most of the time, people just don't really even know like what they're doing. I speak for myself, really, because I wasn't always a vegan. I was actually, like, in the culture that I was brought up in, like, meat was an everyday thing 3 times a day. And so it's not like I was born this way and I just think I'm better than everybody. Like, no, I just actually just ended up learning about things, and the more and more that I became knowledgeable about situations, like, the more I realized that, like, this is such a bigger picture problem. It's not just about, like, it's actually not even just about, like, the fact that I feel that it's a mean or cruel thing to slaughter a living animal. It's actually, the bigger picture is, like, the environment. When you think about the damage that, this big farming does to our planet, and I think that it's just barely now, like, coming to surface. I think there are a lot of really great documentaries out there that will help you, if you haven't watched them, understand what I'm referring to. And of course, they're way better at articulating the facts, and without it being a vegan propaganda or whatever. It's just like, the truth is this, and what you do with that information is up to you. The first documentary that I watched that actually convinced me that I no longer wanted to eat any animal products was one called Forks Over Knives. I think it's on Netflix, if not on iTunes, and I think you can rent it on there too. Cowspiracy is a really great one too that I watched recently, and I feel like that one has really a lot of great facts that are for the most part, like, concealed from the public, and you know, it's not in the interest of these big industries to tell the public the truth, because yeah, of course it's going to affect the money that goes into their pockets. I get that, but ultimately I think we have a responsibility as human beings to you know, do what's right, not just for our pockets or for ourselves, but what's better for the planet. Like, I personally don't have any children, and I don't plan on having kids, but I don't need to be a mom to care really deeply about like the future of children everywhere. You know, I love my friends' kids, and every time I look at them, it's like, man, like there is a certain like protective fear that I have, knowing this information and what it's doing to the planet and what's going to happen to their future. Even though I know that we're already starting to see a lot of this stuff in our lifetime. And then the third, and I think the most important video documentary that I watched on the subject of not even just you know, meat consumption, but just how we mistreat animals in general, whether it's for fashion, for entertainment, as pets, and of course to eat. And that one is called Earthlings, and last time I checked you could rent it on iTunes for like $4 or something. But I also think now it's on YouTube for free, like the full documentary. You can just Google it. Joaquin Phoenix narrates it, and Moby did the soundtrack, and it's really super straightforward, and a lot of people are like, you know, consider it so like gruesome, but it's the truth, you know. And I think ultimately, when I look back at what I wrote on Instagram, I wasn't saying, hey, like if you eat meat, you know, you're Hannibal Lecter, you know, like, or that you're not my friend, or that I don't like you. Like, you know, my dad eats meat. Like, I love my dad. A lot of my friends eat meat, and whether or not like I agree or think it's good for them physically or for the environment, doesn't mean that I'm this cold-hearted person that has hatred for people. Not at all. You know, if anything, it makes me love people more. You know, it's because I know that like I felt super anti-vegetarian, anti-vegan for a really long time. I didn't like people saying, like, telling me what I should do and all stuff. But I think we're beyond the point of like it being a preference. I think it's more like, hey, look, these are like the true facts of how it's affecting our bodies and our environment. You know, I mean, and there's so much proof that backs all of this. It's not just it's not a matter of faith or belief. It's just the truth. And there are tons of you know, pieces of literature that you can read and find out on your own what the truth is, versus like what the McDonald's ads tell you, or even what the FDA tells you, and you know, the big medical industry, because a lot of, you know, their interest isn't for you to be healthy and to save the planet. Their interest is to make money off of you, whether it means making you sick or addicted to something that you shouldn't necessarily be eating. But anyways, I think I wrote down all these notes, and within these notes I went through the comments, and I like jotted down most of the things that people were kind of like what the backlash was about, specifically to me. And I don't think that any of this is about me, actually, but I feel like it's really easy to hide behind saying, well, you're a hypocrite, so that makes your point invalid. And I don't necessarily think that's the case. So I thought it would be fair if I just, instead of reading you the comments, because most of them were, a lot of them were so aggressive and mean and ill-willed, that I'm not going to sit here and be like, hey guys, look at this jerk that left me, that's harassing me on Instagram. Instead, I just put down the points, and that way I could honestly respond to each of them and say, yeah, you know, like, I'm by far not perfect. I'll be the first to admit that this is all new to me. I mean, I'm learning about this every day. So the more I learn, the more I realize I've been doing things wrong. And I don't think there's any shame in admitting that. I think there is shame, though, if you do know that you're doing something that could be damaging, not just yourself, but others and the environment, and then consciously choose to do so. But then again, I'm not judging you and telling you that you should go to jail or you're condemned to hell or anything like that. I'm just, but anyway, so I kind of want to just address the just the things that people think I'm a hypocrite about. So the first thing, I put my cats. People were like, well, you know, you have 2 hairless cats, and they're like, you got them from a breeder, and when there's all these other animals dying in shelters. Yeah, I totally agree with you. First and foremost, like, I fell in love with hairless cats back when I was 21 or 22, when I got my first 2. And what they were Hollywood and Lebo. They were both rejects, basically. Some breeder, I don't know, I don't know necessarily exactly how it works, but you know, they were born with like spots of hair, and one of them had a heart murmur, and the other one had allergies, so it would like constantly sneeze and snot everywhere, and they were just super high maintenance, like and this is a byproduct of a lot of this breeding that goes on. And so basically these 2 cats were unwanted, and they were going to go to the pound. So I was like, hey, I'll take them in. And I didn't even know anything about hairless cats, but I did fall in love with them. And then after my divorce, that was a casualty of the divorce, and I lost them. And then after that I got Ludwig, and Ludwig again was being fostered by a girl who didn't have the ability to keep the cat, but was trying to find it a home. And so then I took Ludwig in, and I loved Ludwig, had him for years. And then when he died, he got out and got bit by an animal, and when I lived up on the hill, there was like a bunch of coyotes and stuff, and he didn't survive, and I was pretty heartbroken, and waited about a year before getting another cat, and then I met this lady Donna who had a litter, and out of the litter there was the runt, and the runt was obviously he was rejected by the mom, so which I guess happens a lot with runts, and he was just abnormally skinny, and definitely not show quality, and so it's not like someone's gonna buy him and like she could sell him and make money. It was I basically took, honestly I felt like the imperfections were endearing, and I took Piaf in, who I have now. And you know, I had no idea about all what's happening with the shelters until I watched Earthlings, and then because like the first chapter of the documentary talks about what happens in these shelters, you know, and just the irresponsibility of people who buy, you know, these dogs from puppy mills or wherever they find them, and then they just say like, oh, I don't want to be responsible anymore, and then they take them back, or they're just abandoned, or they don't get spayed or neutered. I mean, there's tons of reasons why why these shelters are like flooded with animals that need homes. And I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I didn't know about this. And you know, I look at my little Piaf and I love him. You know, I don't regret like buying him. I just regret not having educated myself sooner. So yeah, like if I were to want another cat, of course I would go and get one from the shelter, especially the ones that are on death row. And in the meantime, I've just been trying to educate myself more and more about it, and asking my friends who are really involved with like pit bull rescues and stuff, and how does it work, and you know, because I have like a really small front yard, like, you know, let's just get all the, you know, I don't know what the legalities are, but I have been looking into that, and making more conscious decisions about that, and trying to be more informative about that. So the next point, someone's like, well, is your tattoo ink vegan? Like, what about when you tattoo people, like if there's any animal products within tattooing? No, in my pigments I don't use anything that has animal products in it. But that's a pretty simple one. I think there's more chances of finding animal products in like paints and like oil paints and stuff. I know they used to do that back in the day, but yeah, my tattoo pigments are not animal derived. Taxidermy. You post a lot of photos with taxidermy in your house, and yeah, I do collect taxidermy. I've collected taxidermy for a really long time, and to me, although I know not a lot of people agree with my perception of it, is that like it is a celebration of nature. No, I don't have any animals that have been hunted. I have 3 people that I personally know, 2 within the States and 1 in the UK, who live like in rural areas where they find roadkill or animals that just die of natural causes. So, for example, I have like a lot of baby deer because those are much easier for them to find dead, like the little baby fawns that don't make it and they just die, and are left behind. You know, anytime that happens, I get like an email, and my friend, you know, the ones in the U.S. are like, hey, we found this. Do you want to mount this one or whatever? Instead of just throwing it away. And so so yeah, I mean, I don't have like, it's not like I can order an animal. You know, it's not like like I collect trophies, like some hunters, well, a majority of hunters do, and that's why you won't really see wall mounts. I don't have any like aggressive looking animals. It's like I usually just get them mounted in the way that they would naturally be, you know, whether it's sitting or standing or whatever. But I'm not into making something look ferocious and be like, oh, look what I conquered. And I can understand how that sends mixed messages, because I think most people assume that like I do condone hunting, and that's something that I'm definitely not into. And I never have been, not even when I wasn't a vegetarian. So hopefully that can explain that. Somebody had posted a picture that I like reposted a picture that I posted of Piaf sitting on one of the wolves that's upstairs, and if you look closely at that picture, you notice that it's like there's like the wolf has like a weird butt, like it's the fur stops halfway through, and that's because when they found that specific wolf, it had died and it had already started decomposing, and so they weren't able to salvage all of it, but the parts that they could salvage they mounted for me, and like you know, but that's how it goes. It's not like I think it would be different if I got ones that were hunted and you get them perfect and clean and all that stuff, but I'm not really interested in collecting those kinds of things and that kind of trophy. And you know, and I have like some human stuff too that I collected like from the Victorian era, like you know, like back in the day, like in medical school, they'd have like skulls that were donated to science and things like that. And but it's not, I guess, it is a personal preference for me. I think some people consider it morbid and stuff, and it's totally understandable. I would never sit here and say, oh, I think you all should have taxidermy. You know, it's not. It is my own weird personal preference, but hopefully that explains it. My makeup line, people are like, you probably test on animals, or you know, is it vegan? Well, my makeup line I've had we're going on 8 years now, and it is not owned by Sephora. It isn't owned by a sister company that tests on animals. Like that was one thing that I made sure in the beginning, that no matter what, like none of it will be ever tested on animals. So I did hesitate for a long time to get registered with, like, you know, PETA and Leaping Bunny and all that stuff, but we have done that. So I mean, obviously you can check that reference. And it will continue to stay that way, you know, and it's the only reason that I'm not selling in China, because as a lot of you know, in China, they require people to test, or companies to test on animals in order to sell there, and you know, it is like a huge market, and they showed me the numbers, and they were like, hey, like, look, if we sell there, this is how much you could make, and I don't care, like, I don't have a price on that, so we said no, and I will never sell to China, as long as those are the rules and regulations. It's something that I firmly believe in, and won't budge. As far as it being vegan, it wasn't until I became vegan that, like, I started seeing other vegans responding, saying, hey, like, you know, if you're vegan, why isn't your makeup line vegan? And I just thought, that's weird. I never even checked my ingredients, you know, and I assumed, oh my god, my lipsticks, I bet you they're made out of beeswax or something, you know, and funny enough, my lipsticks didn't have beeswax in it, but what some of my eyeshadows had were carmine, and it's in different shades. It's like, it's not like everything has carmine in it, but a pretty small percentage of things that were in my makeup line did have carmine. And for those of you that don't know what carmine is it's derived from insects, from beetles. Sometimes it's their wings, and sometimes it's their bodies crush, and it gives a certain iridescence to beauty products. And I had no idea about that. And so further into research, and you know, I went back to my team and I was like, hey, like, we're gonna go through every ingredient with a fine-tooth comb and figure out which products are vegan and which ones are not, and then the ones that have any type of animal product in it, we can start phasing out, and then the ones that we want to keep, we just have to reformulate. But that isn't something that happens overnight. To put it into perspective, like Lolita is like one of my highest selling lipsticks, which it is a vegan formula. When it's out of stock and people are complaining because it's not in stock, there's a 6-month lead time on recreating an existing formula. So if you can only imagine what it's like to reformulate it and then put an order in, you know, it's going to be over a year before I can finally claim 100% vegan. But I already made a statement a while ago saying, like, you know, hey, I've been doing it wrong and I want to make things right, and it's going to take me a while, so bear with me. And I'm really excited to step forward with these new products that will be able to claim the 100% vegan, and that's something that I'm really excited about. So yeah, hopefully that answers that question. My leather shoes, books, my purse, the one that's my dad's doctor bag, and also my pianos containing ivory. First of all, the pianos and organs I have are not made out of ivory, the keys. Even the Victorian ones, believe it or not. As far as books go, you know, I collect Bibles and antique Bibles and antique literature. You know, I've always had like a big admiration for literature in general, and especially things that are hand-bound and handmade. And so, yeah, those do contain leather, and but I don't buy anything new. I won't purchase anything like that's in production that has leather in it. It's not something that I feel comfortable with, and something that I just don't want to contribute to that anymore, especially when we have resources to do things differently. So, for example, the 3 books that I released, you know, years ago, they weren't leather bound. We instead just emulated an old antique style and used different techniques to make it look embossed and still give you that feel of an old, beautiful book. You know, and I don't want to throw away my old books. I think that not only is it wasteful, but I think on a historic level, I don't mind keeping those in my house and enjoying them the way they are. When I think about what went into making them, yeah, like it pains me and it sucks, and you know, but what has been done in that sense. As far as my shoes go, a lot of you know that I've been going through, actually not just my shoes, but just like my entire closet and all my belongings in general, and I've been giving most of my belongings away, and that's for, you know, for personal reasons. I've been simplifying my life and getting rid of a lot of the excess. And again, it's not a lifestyle move that I'm saying everybody should do. This is just something that I've learned that I want to do for myself. So in the back you can see, like, I'm already starting to pack up and stuff. Like, this house is too big for me, you know. It's a beautiful house. It's got 5 bedrooms in it. When I bought it, I was dating somebody who had 3 kids, and so you know, my whole thought was like, well, when the kids come, they have their own room. And then obviously that relationship didn't work, and then I was stuck here with this with this really big house, and now I realize, like, I don't need to take up this much space. So I already found another more humble and more modest house that I'll be moving into quite soon. And yeah, but back to the shoes. So I started giving away my shoes, and you know, and I had hundreds of them because I was a collector of them, and a lot of them were leather, and I started giving a majority of them away, even the ones that weren't leather, and I still have a few left. You know, I think it is hard to find a friend who wants to and can take hundreds of shoes and happens to be a size 8. I also like giving them away to fans. You know, I took like hundreds of pairs down to Wonderland and my gallery, and just posted, hey guys, if you're a size 8, come down and pick them up and stuff. And I've been slowly but surely trying to give them away. You know, I could throw them away. I do feel like there is like some form of wastefulness that would come from that, and I am torn, you know, because I still have, like, you know, I mean, I pretty much wear like the same 5 shoes in intervals, and some of them have leather on them, and yeah, and I shouldn't wear them anymore, you know. I shouldn't, if I want to represent a certain lifestyle, then I should be more consistent and not promote that, even if that's not my intention. I think like you know, a lot of people are attacking me because 4 weeks ago I posted for Shoe of the Day a pair of shoes that were made out of leather. But if you keep scrolling down for like months before that, when I announced that I was giving away all my stuff, I said, hey, I'm going to document all these shoes and take pictures. And that's why I'm able to post 3 photos of shoes a day. I don't just do a photo shoot every day for 3 shoes. I just I have an archive of different shoe photos. And, you know, my honest thinking behind it is to promote independent artists. You know, I think that all the designers that I have promoted in the past have vegan options or non-leather options, so it's not like, you know, these people are bad. I don't consider them to be bad people, and again, it's their personal choice on what materials they want to use. You know, if a company decides that they want to make things out of leather, so be it. You know, I personally don't want to contribute to the demand, so yeah, I won't buy them. But yeah, I think if it sends a wrong message, then I should, you know, I should walk the walk more instead of just talking the talk, and you know, being consistent with that. So I will change that. But I think I hit all of the points. There was another point on there talking about moral priorities. You know, I think people are like, oh, there's all this stuff going on in the world, and you're just you're wasting breath on, you know, trying to impose people to be vegan. And I think I don't take that personally, and I'm not like, I mean, people can attack me all day long. It's not something I'm gonna sit here and go like cry about it. You know, I think I don't expect everybody to agree with me or to even see where I'm coming from or to even care. I mean, I'm surprised that I even have as much of a following as I do. But the truth is that there are a lot of facts that will point you in the direction of the ultimate truth, which is that there is a lot of harm that's happening to the environment, and it's due to big farming. I pulled up like online just to show you just a few examples, because I'm not, my intention isn't to be preachy, but just so maybe you can better understand why I feel so passionate about this certain cause. So anyways, I pulled it up, and I found this on like the Cowspiracy like facts section, and you can just literally Google Cowspiracy facts and it'll come up. And what they've done to make it easier is just take just different facts and then just put like the sources under it, so that you know it's not just like somebody saying this is how I feel about it. Like, this is actually you know, comes from your government reports of what's happening. For example, animal agriculture water consumption ranges from 34 to 76 trillion gallons annually. Agriculture is responsible for 80 to 90% of U.S. water consumption. That's what the United States Department of Agriculture, ERS, has stated. Livestock occupies 1/3 of the Earth's ice-free land. Every minute, 7 million pounds of excrement are produced by animals raised for food in the U.S. This does not include the animals raised outside of the USDA jurisdiction or in backyards, or the billions of fish raised in aquaculture settings in the U.S. A farm with 2,500 dairy cows produces the same amount of waste as a city of 411,000 people. 1.5 acres can produce 37,000 pounds of plant-based food. 1.5 acres can produce only 375 pounds of meat. A person who follows a vegan diet produces the equivalent of 50% less carbon dioxide, uses 1/11th oil, 1/13th water, and 1/18th land compared to someone who eats meat. 82% of starving children live in countries where food is fed to animals, and the animals are eaten by Western countries. We could literally feed everyone today by stop feeding animals our grain. So when I think about moral priorities, it's not, you know, fine, like if you don't think animals have a say in life, like that's up to you. But like the truth of the matter is that we have the resources to be able to help world hunger. We have the resources to not put such a dent in the damage that we're doing. You know, obviously not limited to all the damage in the ocean, our drinking water, the rainforest, all that stuff that's directly connected to big farming. And you know, so are there people dying from violent acts and all this stuff? Yes, there's a lot of things that that I think are important as well. To me, I feel like I'd like to see a planet that's sustainable, for us to be able to debate about these things and find solutions, you know, instead of, you know, creating a planet where we can't breathe or drink water anymore at all and fight for human rights and all that other stuff, you know. So ultimately, that's where I'm coming from on all this. I see that I've already spent 30 minutes on this rant, and I'm really sorry I talk so much, but hopefully this shines a better light on the point I was trying to make. And I guess if there isn't any apology that I'd like to give is, I'm sorry that my words weren't composed in a way for you to better understand what I was trying to say. Because whether you eat meat or not, I am on your side too. So yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. I hope you guys have a great day.